Some big news in the world of trail cameras. As you guys have probably seen on the channel and heard earlier this year, we thought trail cameras were going to get banned on public land in Iowa, and they have tabled that law for this upcoming season. And so we talked to Taylor Riggin, who's the president of Iowa Sportsman's Club, to get the full scoop, to share the most recent news regarding this. It made a lot of buzz, and whether you're pro or anti cameras on public land, here's the news, here's the update. Here we go.
There's been a 180 on some of the talks in Iowa. And I just want to take this chance to basically clear the air, because I think there were some misconceptions, and probably some misconceptions that I had and also shared on here too, which
Sure.
I always provide a preface that I don't really know. I'm just getting the same facts from online just like anyone else. But what was it ever in effect? What happened? Is it still going to be illegal to run cameras on public? And just kind of the overall standpoint as of today.
Sure. So as of today, I'll just jump right to the chase, the heart of it. No, it is not illegal to run cameras on public ground in Iowa. And I think probably what happened here at the beginning, well, I'll start at the beginning. We have a lot of gray area laws in Iowa, and there's a lot of issues that face hunters in Iowa that are, a law can be interpreted differently by different conservation officers across the state. You might ask one and get one answer. You ask another one, you get a completely different answer. And that's extremely frustrating for Iowans and us at the Iowa Sportsman's Club. So we would really like to clear up a lot of that. Now, we really didn't have anything to do with what happened this year in that situation. Our governor, we have a great governor in this state, and she basically said to the DNR, hey, we need to clear up some of these gray area laws. You guys need to make this more clear so that hunters know what exactly you're going to enforce. And that didn't happen with a bill. That didn't happen with subcommittee meetings. Nothing that we were actually involved with had vision on this. But the DNR went in and cleared up a number of different things in their mind. And really in Iowa on public ground, it's been a little bit gray on how you can handle this stuff, but you're not really supposed to leave things like ground blinds, decoys, that kind of stuff out on public ground overnight. And actually, if you go back far enough, not really that far, it's my understanding that you weren't really even allowed to leave a tree stand out overnight. You had to put that up in the morning, hang and hunt, basically before hang and hunt was a term, and pull it down at night. Now, again, this is a gray area because I've never met a conservation officer that tried to enforce the tree stand thing. But anyway, when they were trying to clean up this gray area stuff, they came out with some new regulations that lumped trail cameras in with ground blinds and some of this other stuff. Obviously, you can't go put a muddy bull blind up on public ground in the state. Like you're not going to be able to do that. But they kind of lumped trail cameras in with all that. And then, honestly, to make matters worse, because obviously that was going to cause an uproar. Maybe they didn't see that coming. I wish somebody would have asked first. But to make matters worse, when they had that regulation change, they kind of took it upon themselves to publicly say, actually, and this also includes cell cameras on public land, you can't use that to aid in the hunt, or on private land, that you can't use that anywhere to aid in the hunt. And what that did, obviously, was start a firestorm. And to tell you the truth, when we got that information, basically the same time you got that information, we didn't know that they were going to do that. So our reaction was, okay, hold on a minute. Let's talk to our contacts at the DNR. Let's talk to the state legislators that we have close contacts with, the ones that care about, our fight, and get some more. We actually probably got some angry response from people and some of our members that maybe rightfully so said, why aren't you guys storming the Capitol with pitchforks on this? Why aren't you guys freaking out like everybody else is? Our stance was always cameras should be able to be used on public ground. We don't want there to be two sets of laws in Iowa, one for public land guys and then private land guys that can afford to buy ground or lease ground or whatever. You get a whole separate set of special rules. We don't want it to be that way. And so, our stance was always that way, but we wanted to find out more information before we raised the pitchforks and started burning things down. And honestly, a few phone calls later, not necessarily from us. We did make some phone calls, But I think a few phone calls into the DNR from the right people made them, realize, okay, hold on a minute. Let's walk this back. Let's get some more public information, some time that the public can voice their opinions. And they've made it so that for 24, 25, you can use cameras on public ground, and nothing basically changes at all in Iowa concerning that. And I'm sure there will be more conversation going into next year, but I don't really foresee anything changing, to be honest with you. I think they kind of got the point already. So.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that the cameras just got lumped in to them trying to clean up that legislation is the easiest way to summarize that?
Yeah, it got lumped in, and I don't know that at least whoever was moving that along. Again, this is one of those things where with the Iowa Sportsman's Club, with the work we do, we don't want to like call out somebody personally and here's their address, go knock down their door, or start emailing this legislator and make them feel dumb, right? But I don't know that they realized that the wording that they used, what that was going to mean to hunters. And so now they do.
Yeah. Do you think it's interesting because it's pretty decisive too? Like when that happened, there was a lot of people like, heck yeah, I'm glad. I'm so happy that they did this. I wish they would do this in every state. I mean, what with the general people you spoke with, would you say it was split 50-50? Because my perception from reading comments on YouTube, which is a dangerous thing to do, but reading through those, it was like 50-50 of people in favor and 50% against it.
Yeah, that might be true. And honestly, when we talk about like the party hunting piece, it almost seemed a little bit like that too. They changed the party hunting law for non-residents, and there was a big outcry, but there was also a ton of people calling in and telling us, messaging us saying like, hey, I'm actually for that. And so, some of this stuff is interesting, who all falls on both sides of the argument. But, for example, one of the things that Iowa Sportsman's Club, I put out a survey this morning on our Facebook page, and I think we shared it on Midwest Whitetail, Trophy Bucks of Iowa, basically saying, what do you think is the top issue in Iowa? And here's 7 that people have, given to us over the last 6 months. What do you think? What does the mass majority of hunters think? Because that's the way we'll take it. That's the way we'll push it. It's not my decision on, do I want cameras on public ground? Yes, I do. I think they're a great tool, and I think it's silly to not be able to do that. But it's not really my decision either. The Iowa Sportsman's Club is what everybody here wants. So that's we've got a survey out there. I would encourage people to go look that up and vote.
Have you looked at the results yet? I filled it out. I'm on your guys' email list. I filled it out earlier today. Have you seen? Is there early results? I'd be curious to see if there's a front runner. I'm going to guess, and then we can verify. My guess is that it's the $1. Because I read the question carefully, and so what would make the biggest impact for 2025 hunting? And I think that would be the biggest impact. Not that I think some of the other causes on there weren't great though.
Sure. Yeah, and that's where it's going to be interesting to see where this comes out, because I think we put 6 or 7 things up there that all of them I think would benefit our deer herd and the deer hunters of the state. But we'll see who everybody thinks is the most important one. But yes, I was going to post those results tonight or tomorrow morning, probably. So by the time people are hearing this, it'll already be up. We're at about almost 500 responses now since this morning. It's only been up for a couple hours. We're at almost 500 responses, and the early leader is eliminate party hunting for all hunters. It's gone for non-residents right now. People want to eliminate it for residents as well. Now, party hunting, I should make clear, you can still do deer drives, but you just wouldn't be able to take your tag. If you have a buck tag and I have a doe tag, I can't shoot the buck and use your tag to put it on it. You can't share tags is what we're getting at there. And so that's the leader, but there is several more that are right there close, and the $1 state is one of them.
Yeah, interesting. Well, yeah, it'll be cool to follow along with that. And I think, is there anything else to share regarding cameras and for public land? I felt like we cleared the air here, but your general gut consensus is that how it sits today will probably continue for the foreseeable future. And obviously that's just your opinion, but is that accurate?
Yeah, I would say, it is my opinion, but where we're sitting, I would 100%, going to move forward with trail camera on public ground. I could see, just because of the conversation around cell cameras and drones and some of this technology, I could see that, that cell cameras might, be something that they would want to fire against on public ground. And mainly, I think the argument there is simply because if I'm going into a public park, I don't want somebody taking a picture of me that I don't know who it is and, sending it on their cell phone to miles away, and I think they could apply that to, well, you're in a public area. If you walk in front of a trail camera, they can come get it later, but I don't know that we want people to see where you're at in live time and that kind of thing. So that's not an Iowa Sportsman's Club stance. I could just see that coming up again on the cell cams. And then the drone thing, I think, is something that, will continue to come up over the next few years. But I don't foresee that they're going to take the stance of removing all regular trail cameras from public ground. I just don't see it happening.